Okay, guys, second last note of the year. Wow. Arithmetic series is the sum of an arithmetic sequence. Two formulas. I'm going to go through a filled the notes. So two formulas here. See if I can get some highlighters going on here. Highlighter, yellow. Two formulas. This one here, and this one here. The difference between the two is: do you know the last term, or do you know the difference? You need n. You need a. You need to know the number of terms. You need to know the first term value, and you either need to know the difference or you need to know the final term. And if you have that one, you do this one, and vice versa. Okay. The other thing is Tn is equal to, I might as well write this down. Also, the only other formula I think we need today is Tn is equal to A plus n minus 1 D. Okay, so in a sequence, the nth term is found by using this. Okay, and that'll come up a few times. So I'm just gonna kind of point at stuff today, not write much. You want to get the first 30 terms, S30, use the first equation here. There's n divided by 2, n minus 1 over here. There's your D is 5. Okay, so let's just go over this. Sorry, A is 5, D is 5. So plus 5 plus 5. So there's your D, there's your A. Plug in and get that. In this case here, your A is 40, your D is minus 5. You're going down by 5. That's that. You want 25 terms, and you keep going, and that's how you get that. I don't think that's too difficult. If you want to get the sum of this series here, we don't know what term this is. So the first question is what term number is this? And that's the same as using this. So basically, what we want to do is get the sum of this. We need to know the number of terms in the whole series. And to do that, we figure out what number in the sequence, okay, before adding up, if we had an A of minus 4 and we had a D of minus 6, what term number would give us a value of minus 94? So we set this up like this and we solve, and we find that n is in fact 16. And then that means we have 16 terms. This is the 16th term. That means in total there are 16 terms. The last term is number 16. Okay, it's T16. That means there are 16 terms in total. That's our n. That's our A, and then we use the second equation here, the one with the last term, T of n value, and because we have it, and then we plug it and we're done. Okay, this one here, common difference in arithmetic sequence here. So this is from our arithmetic sequence equations here. Again, all equations will be given to you on the tests and exams. So I don't know what just happened there. I just paused for a second. So you're just going to use these equations here. I'm sorry, you're going to use this equation here that's given to you. And T3 is this, T4 is that. You sub in using the equations. So this is T3, this is T4. Elimination will get rid of this D here, 6D, or A, sorry. You end up with 4D is this, A is this. Then you'll sub D is equal to 8.5 into 1 or 2, either one into the equation. Here we subbed into this equation here, number 2, and this equation here. And then you sub in and you find out that A plus 17 is equal to 41. And then bring that over, and A is in fact 24. I believe that's right. Give me a second. Yeah. Okay, just some weird technical issues. So hopefully everything's working okay. This is a big mess here. My notes a little ugly here. The sum of the first 6 terms is this. The sum of the first 10 terms is this. Find the sum of the first 15 terms. So if you're going to find the sum of the first 15 terms, that's at S15, and you're going to use this equation here, n over 2, 2a plus n minus 1d. And the only thing you know here right now is that n is 15. So we're good with this. We don't know A, we don't know D. So what you do, just similar to question number 4 on the previous page, you set up 2 separate equations and solve through elimination for one of the unknowns. So here I have S of 6 is this, 297. And that's 6 divided by 2, and you work your way through here, 297, and there's 3. First step here is divide each side by 3, and you end up with 2a plus 5d is equal to 99. Do the same with the next one, the S10. Divide by 5, and you end up with 2a plus 9d is 151. So then just use elimination to figure out that over here, that's over here, so this is a little hard to follow. Use elimination to find out that 4D is 52, D is 13. So there's D. Sub back into this equation just like we did in question number 4 to find out what A is. There's A, and now you have A and D. You already had N. Sub in everything into the S15 equation and get 1620. Okay. This last question is excellent. 17 is a great question. This last question here you can look at using quadratic formula. A little difficult, something maybe a little beyond what I expect you to do. This is a very tricky unit. So that's how we solve that. I'll just, if you want to pause it and copy that down, that's great. What's happening here is you're solving for n the exact same way as before. The issue is you end up with n squared over here. You rearrange it and you have a quadratic equation. How do you solve a quadratic equation? By using the quadratic formula, and you end up with 26 as your answer. And minus 52.5, but minus 52.5 can't work. Okay, so that question there, if you want to check over it, go ahead. But this is a great question here. If I have 13 seats in row 1, and then plus 2 in the next row, plus 2 in the next row, all the way for 7 rows like that, so I have 13 seats and I'm adding 2 each way through. And then starting at the eighth row, I start adding 3 after that fact. So basically I have two different questions here. I have one where I'm adding 2, and then after that I start adding 3. So to find out my sum of the first 7 rows where I'm adding 2, I just go through this and say that my first row has 13 seats and I'm adding 2, so that's my common difference, and I figure out that the total here is 133 seats. Now if I want to start with my next little group, that's row 8 through 13. Okay, that's the next, or 8, I'm sorry, 8 through 12. That's the next 5 rows, so be careful with that. That's row 8, row 9, row 10, row 11, row 12. That's 5 rows, okay? I almost made a mistake there. You need to find out what A is, and A is the first row in this sequence here, which is the 8th row. And to get that, what we're going to do is go back and find out how many seats are on row 7, and then simply add 3. So you kind of have two different questions here. So you go back and you use the A plus n minus 1d equation to find out what T7 is based on the info from the first set of rows, where A is 13 and n is, D is 2, and you figure out that row 7 has 25 seats. Then you add 3 seats to figure out what row 8 has. That's your first seat, your first row in the second group of seats that are growing by 3. So that's your A now, and that goes here. I'm growing by 3, that's my difference. I have 5 rows, so that's my n, and you solve for 170. You solve here, you get 170. 133 in the first group of seats, rows, 170 in the second group of rows. Total 303 seats. Okay, so that's a neat little question. And that's about it. So that's the second last unit in this course. Next up, geometric sequences, and we are done. Geometric series, and we are done. Take care.